Hello, everybody. Okay, let's see. Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm also going live on Instagram as well. Okay, tonight's masterclass is going to be epic. Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm just going live on Instagram right now. Masterclass. Tonight we are going to be talking about ego and pride. Okay, ego and pride. And I'm going to go live right now for our lovely community on Instagram as well. Oh, guys, I thought I would be going live 2 hours ago. Plans don't exist. I went to the mall with my family and they spent an hour in Target, so we're a bit behind schedule, but no such thing. Everything happens as it should. Okay, guys. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be reading from Love, the Real Word of God by Roshanna Alvarado. Tonight we're going to be talking about ego and pride, which, holy cow, this is a very big conversation. And guys, everything I do is intuitive. Everything I read from, everything I choose is because my intuition tells me to do it. And in my real life, I align with this chapter. Now, the cool thing about her books is that this isn't a book you read chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. If you happen to get any of Roshanna's work, it will always be a magical experience. I've had many times where I thought of something I was going through, a problem, a situation, and then I would feel, okay, read her books. I flip to a page and she's giving the solution or the guidance based on my current situation. So because Roshanna writes all of her work intuitively, naturally, you will be in tune with the book. It's incredible. It's incredible. Now, guys, because I'm live on TikTok on my computer, one, I look a little grainy, so sorry if I'm blurry. And two, I haven't figured out how to link the book to this live so you guys can grab it and have easy access to it. So forgive me, but by the next live, I promise I will try my best to link the book to the live from my desktop. I know how to do it on my phone. But if you guys want to do the extra work, her book is in my showcase right on my profile. So yes, guys, tonight we're going to be talking about ego and pride and how most of humanity believes that the ego is them, including myself. That's what I used to believe. You know, on this spiritual journey, have so much wisdom, so much whatever, so much more knowledge, but still not a good person. Because I was empowering the ego while believing that was my identity. So, yes, guys, that's what we will be talking about today. You are not the ego. The ego is the evil in the world that people call the devil, darkness. Well, darkness and ego are different things. I also learned that from Shanna. But tonight our focus is ego and pride. Okay, beautiful people, let me just open up the book. And mind you, we're all in this together. Again, because all of Roshanna's work is intuitive, like she has the chapters and the numbers, but her pages aren't numbered. This isn't a book you just flip through. So I too have not read Ego and Pride, but I need to, clearly. So just know that I'm in this with you guys. I'm in this with you guys. So tissues, highlighters, and notebooks, okay? Tissues, highlighters, and notebooks. We got this. We're all in this together. Again, I have not read this chapter yet, so holy cow. Okay, so Ego and Pride is on page 106. Again, Roshanna, I don't know why you have page numbers. She doesn't number her work. They're all written in verses, which is so cool. You guys see, her work is written in verses, kind of like separate ideas. It's kind of beautiful. No, it's so beautiful. But okay, guys. Before we get into the chapter, I just wanted to share with you guys how this applies to me in my real life. So in real time, as in today, right now it's 11:14 p.m. on my side. And just today with my mom, I had an interaction with her where I chose ego. And I thought it was my authentic reaction, but it is not. Whenever you choose the ego, which is anything opposite of love, acceptance, and compassion, you are empowering evil. And while that sounds heavy, it's the reality of what humanity has chosen. So, okay, here's what happened between me and my mom today, guys. So I was famished. Famished. On TikTok, my organic body butters went from a few orders a day to one viral video changing my life. So I was packaging, figuring my life out. And I go downstairs. I'm famished, hungry. And my mom is the type of person who is needy, like all of us can be at times. Needy of attention, conversation, stimulation, validation. We can go on and on, right? But again, in the same breath, she wasn't taught any different. So I'm in the kitchen, eyes blurry, and guys, I'm plant-based as well. So everything I have to prepare by hand, intricately, load up the blender, things like that. So when I eat, it also takes time to prepare my meals. So I'm bending down to get the blender. I come up and she's just staring at me with this look of worry, just fear, you know? And so how did I respond to her? I made a face like, what are we, like, what are you looking at? To be honest, please leave me alone. Because I could feel energetically she wanted to pull from me. She wanted something that I couldn't give. I don't want to talk right now. I can't. Immediately, I had to check myself. Why am I aggravated when someone is just being themselves? That's all it boils down to. Nobody in your reality is the problem. The problem is you. I know, guys, heavy stuff. I had to face it today. You are the problem. Why can't people just be themselves, no matter who they're being, without acceptance? Because, okay, yes, it was spontaneous. It was annoying. The ego will try to convince you to divide yourself from reality. Let me say that again, guys. The ego will teach you, will try to manipulate you into choosing to divide yourself from reality. She's just being herself. She's just a concerned mother that sees that her kid is hungry. And sure, she can do that every day. Yeah. She can ask me 1,000 questions every day. Yeah, she does. She does. But who am I to judge that? What I was doing was judging the past version of myself. I couldn't have compassion for my mom in that moment of her being who she was being because I judge myself. I condemn myself. Sometimes I expect myself to kind of know it all or to know better, and so I must do better. But this is a journey of becoming and remembering. It's ever changing. So as I'm learning about myself, I should give myself more grace, more love, more compassion. This is my first time living this way, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys too. This is maybe the first lifetime where you've said, you know what, damn it, I'm gonna choose love. So yeah, guys, so that was my moment with my mom. And I had an influx of negative thoughts and excuses that was trying to keep me angry, But because I'm also in tune with my intuition, immediately I knew to give her an apology. Because, listen, guys, the reason why people are functioning the way that they are is because they've never been taught differently. If we are here to be the vessels of love, to help humanity remember what love is, how can we do that when we're not accepting them as they are at their point in time in their journey? That's what Roshanna did for me. She has seen the ugly. I've been jealous, problematic, angry, chaotic. But what Roshanna did, the author of the text we're going to be reading, guys, she loved me genuinely despite what she saw. And it was in that love for me at my worst that I could actually believe in loving myself at my worst. This is what we're here to do. And the ego will try to stop you. And as we read this book, we're going to get into more like, okay, what is the ego? How do you decipher between your highest self, which is love, which is God, versus ego? How do you differentiate your identity? It's a lot, guys. But essentially, this is about learning how to trust yourself. Okay? This is about trusting yourself. There will always be two energies. Always. Love and fear. Which one will you choose? Today with my mother, I chose fear. I saw an old reflection of me and my mother. I used to be needy. Silence used to bother me. I used to didn't care about how people felt. If I wanted something, I'm going to get it. You know, even if that is attention, conversation, whatever it may be. So that's who I used to be. And so any judgment of the reflection of the old me that I cast upon my mother is me not accepting who I used to be. That's a form of self-hate, condemnation. You guys with me? So intuitively, I was guided to read Ego and Pride with you guys yesterday. But of course, today that situation applies. So let's see what Miss Alvarado has to say about the ego and pride. Okay, guys. I hope you guys are with me. Welcome, everybody that's new. Hello to those who are coming and going. Thank you to those who are staying and for trusting me. Okay, let's head to Ego and Pride, page 106, even though there's no pages. So let me just flip through. I also hope you guys are having a good day. Like, I just go into yap mode, but I hope y'all are doing all right. It's a Friday night. Y'all could be at the club. Y'all could be at the club. Y'all came here. Nice. Y'all could be at the club popping that thing. Y'all came to class. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, beautiful people. Let me just find the chapter, Ego and Pride, and then we will get started. I don't think I read this chapter. Oh, okay, guys, found it. Okay, if you're new here, guys, welcome. This is Ego and Pride from Love, the Real Word of God, Part 1, written by Roshanna Alvarado. Okay, guys, let's get reading. This should be nice. First, let me give you guys a heads up. This chapter is, okay, we have 4 pages. As you guys know, if you were here on the last live, her art, her book, every sentence you can stop and talk for an hour. So I'm going to do my best, okay, to share what's necessary. Okay, guys, make sure you can see me good. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Ego and Pride. Okay, guys, I'm about to start reading. Okay. Ego is not natural to the creation of the human race. Pride is not natural to the creation of the human race. The human race was created with the energy of love, which is the energy of creation in which the universe began. The ego was created by the energy of fear, which is the opposite of creation, opposite to who we are. So guys, the ego was created by the energy of fear, which is the opposite to creation, the opposite to who we are. Pride was taught to keep one from accepting themselves, rather craving acceptance of others. Pride was taught to keep one from accepting themselves, rather craving acceptance of others. Due to teachings of religion, the human race has accepted ego as part of them. Although religion speaks against ego, the speaking of it at all subconsciously manipulates the truth about it. Ego does not come from a source outside of us. One can say ego is of the devil because it is. It is the opposite source of God. Let me say that again, guys. One can say ego is the devil because it is. It is the source opposite of God. One must also acknowledge that the devil is not an outside source. I spoke about that in the last live, guys. You are not a victim. There is no devil casting bad upon your life. And there is no God granting your wishes. Everything you're experiencing in your reality is a conglomerate of choices you have made since the beginning of your existence. Which who knows when your beautiful little soul took form in this universe? Who knows? But every choice you've made since then is why you are living the life you are living. There is no devil. The only devil are past versions of yourself that you still empower today that doesn't have your best interests at heart. In other words, what choices are you making that don't align with loving yourself or what's best for yourself? That is the only devil. That is the only devil. Nothing outside of you. Okay? Whew, I know, guys. Okay, so let's read that sentence again. One must also acknowledge that the devil is not an outside source. Everything existent is energy. This physical life has an energetic core. This physical life can only be lived in peace when this is acknowledged. Okay, guys? Everything in your reality exists there because you think it deserves to be there, whether good or bad. Okay? Everything. Okay. Life on earth is and has always been a battle of good versus evil. Let me say that again. Life on earth is and always has been a battle of good versus evil. Life on earth is and always has been a battle of love versus fear. That's what I shared with you guys. It'll always be two choices. Thankfully, humanity complicates things, right? Two. Love and fear. Life on earth is and always has been a battle between the power of creation and the craving of control. Okay? So no matter what pseudonyms you give it, yin and yang, light and dark, God and devil, this is the true battle that's happening on earth. It's between the power of creation, the original source, and the craving of control, fear. Therefore, ego Therefore, ego had to be taught as a normal part of our existence to keep one accepting of its presence. Whoa. Ego is not natural and would not exist without one's individual acceptance of its presence. Hear me, guys. Ego wouldn't exist without the human race consciously choosing, you know what? Yeah, I accept this. That's how powerful we are. We are source, creation, love, encapsulated in these human bodies, which means that we are ultimately the most powerful beings in creation. Because with our choices, with our thoughts, with our beliefs, we can materialize anything, both good and bad. So ego, fear, devil, had to be taught to us as a natural part of our beings. We're born sinners. You guys know the whole thing. So the human being could say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I believe that. When it was never true. It's the human being's choice to choose ego and to empower it, which keeps it alive. Because guys, that energy has no power to create. It's not natural. Fear can only evolve based on the decisions of the human being. It's the same thing for love as well. Love can only take place here. Divine love, genuine love, through the human being that chooses to be a vessel that loves themselves fully, period. If you're being called to walk away from the house, walk away from it. If you're being called to stop eating the meat, stop eating the meat. And I'm talking this way, guys, because I had to do these things. I had to. On another live, we'll get into my journey with food. Oh my goodness. Man, do I have a testimony. But I don't want to go too off track. My point is, humanity had to be convinced to choose ego in order for it to evolve and spread. But the beautiful thing is that energy doesn't have any real power without humanity's conscious choices. Okay? So, for example, that argument you had two choices. You could have chosen love for yourself, which most likely looks like staying silent, humbling yourself, and allowing the other person to show who they really are. But instead, maybe you chose ego. Maybe you had a point to prove. Maybe you talked for a little too long, a little too extra. You got aggravated. They hurt your feelings. The ego can only feel pain. The soul doesn't know that. You see, when one is complete within themselves, I'm not going to say you don't feel pain. I'm going to say it becomes less of a personal experience. When one is whole within themselves, they can see people's choices and observe. It becomes almost like, that was an interesting choice. They could be cursing you out, whatever they need to do. And the person who is whole within themselves, the person who is a true vessel of love, which means they're just loving themselves, can observe that with compassion and say, that's how they feel about themselves. That has nothing to do with me. Versus to empower the ego. Now you have something to prove. Someone curses you out. No, now you're going to give them the same energy. Literally empowering the same evil that's causing you the pain. This whole reciprocating energy thing cannot happen on this path back to yourself. And maybe you've made those mistakes, as have I. Even with my mother, I find myself just yesterday over-explaining, not arguing because I don't argue, but I could tell that she was trying to, the real word is manipulate me into coming to a family reunion. And it happened so spontaneously. She brought it up. And again, guys, I'm sharing all this about my mother with love and compassion, not with condemnation. I love her so much. These are just real examples. And if I really love myself, I have to be honest about my experiences. So while I do love my mother, I have to be honest about who she is. That's also part of acceptance, not creating an illusion of who we want people to be. That's another way we empower ego, falling in love with the illusion and pretending that we don't see or feel who they truly are. No, let's be honest about it with grace. So she was trying to manipulate me into coming to the family reunion because she wants me there. Simple, it's no dramatics. And I found myself continuously explaining, like, Mom, I can't give you validation. I can't give you a date. I can't promise that I'll be there because I flow. Everything I do is intuitive. You know? And then she would say something, and then I would kind of repeat the same thing. And in that moment, I realized, Camila, truth, which is love, which is honesty, doesn't need so much. Say it once. Why can't we, guys? Think about it. How often in our lives do we think that we have something to prove because we're telling the truth? Who's with me, guys? How often do we feel like we have something to prove because we know more, because we experienced more, because we're just being honest? That's still the ego. You would never go back and forth with somebody about if the sky is blue. How crazy is that? Can you imagine? Guys, this is the reality of it. You would never speak twice to about if the sky is blue or not. That's how we have to uphold ourselves in self-respect and love. Keep the ego far away from you. When you feel it, when you feel the trigger, for me, in that moment where the second time I repeated, Mom, I don't have a plan, right? I'm speaking my truth. Yes, but twice, even a third time, then I have something to prove. And that is the ego. That is not natural. A true vessel of love will sit and, like I said, observe. Hear the comeback, hear the convincing, whatever people need to do, and stay silent. I have been learning that there will be some awkward times. And guys, my desktop keeps shutting off, so I have to keep pressing the space tab. Sorry. But there will be awkward times. You will be the one in the room disliked, talked about. Oh, they're awkward. No, you're just not empowering ego. The very energy opposite of creation, you're just not giving it power. Okay? So there has to be a willingness. And as you start to respect yourself more, you care. You care about what you actually respond to and how you feel. Your reality is your thoughts and reactions. Guys, you're simply experiencing yourself, or you're being faced with opportunities to choose who you're going to be. Will you give power to ego, something that wants you angry and divided? And remember the text, her book says it wants control. Ego is an energy not natural to humanity that wants control. Will you allow it? Or are you willing to be different for both yourself and then for people in your reality? Because what they don't tell you guys is that your choices are so important. Your choices are so important that as you rise in frequency, which means as you continue to love yourself and do what's best for yourself only, what happens is everybody around you is faced with opportunities to change as well. Guys, these are the miracles that happen when we choose to love ourselves. My 16-year-old sister is plant-based. How did that happen? From watching me eat. A 16-year-old kid made that choice. There was a point where meat was giving my other sister, my middle sister, food poisoning. How? When her stomach could just take that type of stuff. My dad, who loves Coke. Simple, I didn't have to think about it. Coke. Coca-Cola, guys. Coca-Cola. He was sipping on fruit juice, all organic. One ingredient, watermelon juice. One ingredient, mango juice. What? Because of my choices. And I used to wear the responsibility of that, knowing these things and witnessing, experiencing these things. But remember, guys, they also have free will. So now my dad is back to drinking the Cokes. And my middle sister is still eating the meat. But for a second, for a couple of days, for a couple of weeks, they had an opportunity to change. Simply because somebody else in their reality decided to change. This is the power we have when we stop empowering the ego. It's real, guys. But okay, let's get back to the book. Okay, we all good here? All set? I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Man, it's beautiful, isn't it? We are so powerful. They had to teach us to forget that we have these abilities to infiltrate everyone in our reality based on our decisions. So now imagine if you loved yourself radically, what that could do. Okay, guys, so let's see, where are we at in the book? Ego's not now. Okay, so we stopped at ego is not natural and would not exist without one's individual acceptance of its presence. It will be impossible to acknowledge this truth until one begins to break down their current foundation of existence. When love begins to take place as one's foundation, clarity will be gained. When love begins to take place, ego naturally dissipates. Many believe that they already love themselves. But if one possesses any other energy besides love, for example, anger, one does not genuinely possess the energy of love. Woo-hoo-hoo. Within this past week, guys, were you angry? I was just angry today. Wow. As I said, as I'm reading these books, I'm reflecting with you guys because this is the power of her work. Love has been taught incorrectly, and that has been the plan. If one does not know the meaning of genuine divine love, one cannot possess it. Ego is a deception of what resides within the human mind. Ego is a weight that suppresses the soul. Ego is a weight that suppresses the energy of creation. Where ego resides, love cannot. It's impossible. It's impossible. Now, this isn't to discredit how far you've come. This isn't to discredit the choices you have made thus far that led you here. That's not what the book is saying. The book is saying where ego is, love can't be. And it's even more beautiful because, again, both are a choice. You are a human being, not a slave, not a victim, not a baby. Well, babies are human beings, but you guys know it's always a choice. Alternately, where love resides, ego cannot. Ego creates a space for division in the form of right and wrong. In this space, ego craves to be right. The truth of this life is there is no right and wrong, only different perceptions. The truth of this life is there is no right and wrong, only different levels of consciousness. Oh my gosh. Those that exist at a higher level of consciousness should not crave being right. Those that exist at a higher level of consciousness should only crave to speak the truth that would enlighten others, with no worry of the acceptance others have of that truth. Hold on, y'all. I need my highlighter. This is, oh my gosh. Because guys, as I said, I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in it. Wow. Okay, guys, we'll go over this part in 1 second. What was that cream? Being right. Okay, guys, I'm highlighting the part that I just read to you guys, and we're going to go through that right now. Okay. So the truth of life is there is no right or wrong, only different levels of consciousness. Now, Roshanna, the author of this book, shared something so profound, as usual. She said, Camila, there's 8 billion people on this planet. There are billions that will never understand what we're talking about right here. So guys, hear me. The goal, while you may have this itch, this desire to teach, to share, to show the people you love, the people in your reality, that there's a different option, that they can be happy, that they can change. The truth of this life is there is no right or wrong. In other words, you are not right. You are not superior to the people in your reality because you've changed for the better. You are no different than them, for they are simply mirrors of who you used to be, or of who you could be if you didn't choose to love yourself. You guys with me? So the ego will try to convince you that because you're at this stage in your life, that there's something to prove. But in reality, that's not true. While in a higher frequency, you should only crave to speak the truth to enlighten those in your reality. You're reminding them. You're not a teacher. You're not a guru. There's no medal for this, You are mirroring their potential for self-love. And they are mirroring to you who you used to be. Okay? Therefore, there is no true division. Only you exist in your reality, simply expressed in different forms in everybody in your life. Right? Wow. This just reminds me of my mother. This is the exact thing I had to recognize. Camila, to judge hers, to judge yourself. And it's true. It's true. If I can't fully accept my mom, that means I can't fully accept the version of me that didn't love myself. And I want to. And I will. Past Camila deserves that. Past you deserves to feel a love and a compassion that it's never felt before. So give it to yourself today. You've made it this far in your journey. But stop condemning the person who you used to be, the person that didn't know any better. Right? I'm totally talking to myself here. Start focusing on the good parts about yourself and the fact that you're here today. You a year ago, could you hear this information without scrolling and being like, oh, hell no. Could you a year ago be here today? Impossible. But you've made changes, and now you're here. Why does that deserve condemnation? So yeah, guys, to wrap that up, don't let ego convince you that you're superior to people in your reality because you've changed. You're here to be an example by simply being yourself. You don't have to wake up and be this character, this teacher. Love, God, needs no explanation. Just is. God is not a superior being. God is love, which is the source of everything natural to you. Everything. It is your birthright to be happy. All that other shit is not normal. Okay, so let's keep breaking ego's foundation. Man, do you guys see why her work is so incredible? Love the Real Word of God, guys. It's on Amazon. It's in my TikTok showcase. Man. And on Instagram, it's in my bio as well. Okay, guys, let's keep going. Okay. So, in reference to the last sentence, those that exist at a higher level of consciousness should only crave to speak the truth that would enlighten others, with no worry of the acceptance others have of that truth. This is a true space of love where ego does not exist. Those that exist at a lower level of consciousness have a need to be right. The need to be right is a direct reflection of the energy of fear within. Since childhood, we have been taught right and wrong. Since childhood, we have been rewarded for being right, for example, school. Since childhood, we have been taught that if you are right, you are better than the one who is wrong. Do y'all remember that in school? Y'all, I had the pegs. They were like these clips. There was a red, there was a yellow, there was a green. I would be shaking in my boots, guys. I would be shaking because I depended on the teacher to see me as right, as good. I didn't want to be punished. I didn't want my little peg to be on red for the whole class to see. Are you kidding me? And my parents took that shit serious? What? Not exactly that tier system, but my behavior in school and how people perceived me, which reflected how people would see my parents. That caused a lot of unnecessary turmoil in my childhood because I had to be perfect. I was representing two perfect people. And so, yeah, this idea of right and wrong is literally meant to suppress your individuality. You can color outside the lines. Why would that worksheet get an F? Why is that the wrong thing to do? Because ego wants to separate you from all things natural to who you are. Be you. There's no pegs now, guys. You can be yourself. You're not going to be moved to the red peg because you talk too much. And I talked a lot. Guys, the cruelty, I'm feeling very called to share this. The cruelty you will face by being authentic is because you are triggering in people what they are afraid to express within themselves. I faced a lot of ego before my journey when I was authentic. My authenticity was attached to humiliation, being embarrassed, mistreatment. But in some ways, I always found a way to express myself. But there was this one time in drama class, literally, it was such a heavy piece. It was called, I don't want to lie, guys. We did a play about a school shooting, 26 Pebbles. We're doing a play, and it was like the beginning of the reading. We're reading the script. It was so negative. People were just talking about how sick the shooting was, which, of course, yeah. Like, this is the project, we have to debrief. And I remember I literally said out loud, guys, like, Mind you, it's like 30 of us in a room, plus the theater teacher. I said, it's okay, guys. We got this. There's no need to focus on the negativity. Like, we got this. We're going to get through this. Right, guys? That's what I said. Just basic encouragement. Room full of people who are focused on fear and negativity. And my theater teacher told me to shut the F up. I can laugh now, but he told me to shut the F up in front of the class. Okay. I'm sharing this because I can feel that a lot of you guys have been met with cruelty by just being yourself. But I'm here to remind you that the one that talks too much, the one that's here to just give encouragement, the one that has the courage to stand in a room full of complaining and negativity and say, hold on, guys, we're better than this. Kind of how they do in the movies, yeah? Are the ones who are doing the most work. We are the ones moving humanity forward. So please, guys, if I let that shut the F up, make me, and for a while that replayed in my head. I didn't even think I would bring this up. Wow. For a while I let that bother me, because why was my love rejected? All I said was everything's going to be okay. But guys, you must understand, based on where the frequency is on Earth right now, we're all living separate realities. That's always been the case, but the frequency is so high now, some of us are experiencing heaven. We know there's chaos. We're not being delusional. We know there's problems, negativity, but because of our choices to love ourselves, to change, to evolve, you don't experience what's going on, but rather my self-love is helping change those things on an energetic level. So guys, that is the power of your authenticity. That shut the F up wasn't to me. That was how he talks to himself when met with positivity. Simple. So yeah, guys, do not allow ego to convince you that your authenticity is a problem. It's that very thing that people can't stand the most, that majority of the world needs. Okay? This isn't about being the hero. It's about being yourself. I wasn't trying to be the hero that day. I was trying to give love where I saw it was necessary. And you see, guys, if I didn't believe in that, if I didn't believe in that feeling that said, no, something can be different here, I wouldn't be here with you guys. Oh, how sweet. Veins popping out. Oh, and on Instagram too, y'all, the veins. Oh yeah, I'm serious. Yeah. But okay, beautiful people. Back to the book. Thank you guys for listening to that story and for being safe for me to share that. Because it was a humiliating moment at the time. But if I let that stay in my subconscious, I wouldn't be who I am today. Now I have compassion for that theater teacher and everybody in the room who didn't have a clue what they were empowering. But something in me knew. At 16, I knew. Okay, guys. Oh, and book update. We have one more page left. Wow. Holy cow, guys. Maybe have I been flying through this? I don't think so. Okay, guys. No, we have one page left. Okay. So kind to fear of being better than us. Okay, guys. So I'm going to start off on the bottom. This is where we're at, and this is the last page. So it's not even a full page. We're right here, and then this is the last page. Guys, if you're new here, this is Love, the Real Word of God, Part 1 by Roshanna Alvarado, the chapter Ego and Pride. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. It's a lot. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's continue. Okay. So, therefore, Since childhood, we have been subconsciously manipulated into existing in fear of another being better than us. This has fed the ego, creating a need to be right, which creates division due to disagreement on perception instead of acceptance of one's perception. So that's the difference. Disagreement versus accepting. Accept that people are different than you. Who cares? That's kind of cool. Again, making love the only answer to ending division amongst one another. When one has love for self, one naturally has acceptance of self. That's so important because spirituality has become very performative. Saying 1,000 times a day in the mirror, I am a goddess, I am self-love. That's not self-love, guys. We've evolved past that, guys. Self-love isn't a performance. The book says, when one has love for self, one naturally accepts oneself. And guys, what does love for yourself look like? Again, doing what's best for you every minute of the day. It looks like not going on the trip. Even though so bad you wanted to go, something is saying stay home. It looks like doing everything differently that you did yesterday that you're not proud of. Self-love looks like taking care of yourself in the way that you've never been taken care of. Solo. No partner can do this for you. No animal can do this for you. And yes, they do help out a lot, guys. I have 2 cats. Nobody can love you the way that you can. Genuinely. It's impossible. That's the truth we've forgotten, guys. That's the truth we've forgotten. If you are God, having this physical experience, that means no one truly knows what's best for you other than you. If God is the source of energy, which is love, you are the source of energy of everything in your life. Okay? So, back to the book. When one accepts themselves, they do not crave the acceptance of others. When one does not crave the acceptance of others, one can stand in the power of who they really are, who they are meant to be on this earth. When one steps into this power, the power of love, there is no ego, therefore no division. This is the answer to the salvation of the human race. One cannot say that they love themselves while possessing ego. One cannot evolve until ego is acknowledged as unnatural. One cannot make love the last sentence goes, one cannot make love the foundation of their existence until they make the decision to let ego fall away. Whoa, guys. One cannot make love the foundation of their existence until they make the decision to let ego fall away. And guys, with that being said, I would like to share something very important with you guys. Again, that was Ego and Pride from Love the Real Word of God. Here's the difference between me and Roshanna, the author of this book. And I'm sure a lot of us started this spiritual journey based on drugs, right? Maybe some shaman, some of you guys went and did ayahuasca, some smoked too much weed, let's just be honest. For me, I started because I took LSD in college. One little tab, because I was depressed, wanting to feel something, wanted to see pretty colors. That was the beginning of my awakening, right? Unbeknownst to me, what I was doing by taking drugs was forcing a different level of consciousness onto my own. So my experience was violent and a little scary. Sure, I was having these magical experiences, talking to beings and all these things, past lives, and But the truth is, none of it was gentle. I was looking in the sky and seeing evil. The things talking to me, they weren't nice. One didn't even say my name right. Guys, one didn't even say my name right. One didn't even say my name right, guys. You know, these things, the opposite of love, can only present illusion because, as we learned in the book, guys, evil, fear, the energy opposite of creation, doesn't have the ability to create anything. It can simply pretend and manipulate and lie in these things. And so, after letting go of the big dark presence that I accepted through the drugs, through my spiritual awakening, I was then able to awaken again, which is a part of this experience, from a foundation of love for myself, which has always been the only way to awaken. Are you guys with me? To wake up one day and to radically change your life and to start making decisions that are best for you is the original spiritual awakening. So, how many of you guys have awakened from an illusion? Drugs, force. And that's why it's hard for you to let go of the ego, because you believe it's a part of you. When you awaken from a foundation of darkness, yeah, you're hearing voices. And yes, darkness knows the truth. So yeah, you have knowledge, sure, pounds of information, but you don't have a clue about who you really are without that dark voice. Without that voice excusing anger, pain, division, porn, you name it, in whatever ways that you're lying to yourself. But you call yourself on this spiritual journey. It's maybe because your foundation, guys, wasn't loving. How did you start this journey? That is so important, guys. And as a living testimony to having literally, again, guys, there's no devil outside of you. I've always been in some fight between light and dark, hearing negative thoughts, but then having to say, nope, Camila, no, choose this. Having to consciously choose to be a good person and to not listen to the other crazy stuff that I once believed was my identity. That is the true awakening. Now, for Roshanna, the author of this book, what makes her story so special is that she is the one human being that did awaken from a foundation of love. No drugs, no book, no magic spell, no potion. Simply the choice to do what she needed to do to love herself, which her story is so incredible. Leaving her successful 6-figure job in the medical industry, leaving her house, and amongst other things. I don't want to tell her story. But no, she wouldn't mind. Okay, no, maybe that's for her to share. Leaving a lot to go to Indonesia with little to no money, because that's where her soul was calling. And that was her beginning. She had done other things in between, which she writes about in other books. But my point is, guys, that's the difference in foundations, right? That's maybe why it's hard for you to understand what the hell ego even is, because maybe you've accepted its presence as your identity while being on this journey. Please know that anything that doesn't encourage acceptance and grace and compassion for yourself is not natural to you. So back to her last sentence of the chapter, Ego and Pride. One cannot make love the foundation of their existence until they make the decision to let ego fall away. So in the beginning of Shanna's journey, She understood this. She understood, okay, as I'm choosing what's best for myself, as I'm evolving, oh, wait, there's another voice that isn't natural to me. Let me keep choosing love so I can keep ego as far away from me as possible. For me, all I knew was ego. And I had knowledge and power, but I still wasn't a good person while believing that I was. So you guys are witnessing, experiencing, because you're here with me, me rebuilding my foundation the loving way. Now I'm doing what's best for myself, the best ways that I can. And that is the true spiritual awakening. Naturally, you will remember the beauties of who you are without force, without darkness, without all that stuff. But you know, I should mention, guys, that darkness and ego are two different things, right? And I think this is the last note that I'm going to leave off on because it's important to understand. Darkness and ego are two different things. Ego is literally, as explained in the book, ego. Oh, hold on, guys. They're trying to end my live in 5 minutes. Hold on. Let me slide the little puzzle piece. Okay, guys. Ego is a conglomerate, an entity of fear that has evolved with humanity's choices to accept that energy as normal. Okay? Again, as taught in religion, you're born sinners, whatever, you owe a power outside of you for simply existing, these types of things. You were born to believe that you are inferior, which would keep you away from even believing that what you're looking for is already here. Okay? So that's ego. A conglomerate of fear, an entity that wants control over the human race and wants to keep you from experiencing and knowing love, right? Darkness. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I say it right. Darkness. Darkness is simply love transformed. How do you face darkness? All the ugly parts about yourself. Are you still jealous? Are you still addicted? Are you still these things? Darkness can be transformed with the love and acceptance that you have for it. So when you are faced with darkness, if you choose love and acceptance, you are then reminding darkness that it is love. And that is how we transform our own darkness. That is how we evolve and forgive ourselves. You guys with me? So it's pretty normalized to condemn or to be ashamed of the ugly parts of ourselves. Some things you can't even say out loud about yourself. Just be honest. There's some things you can't even admit out loud about yourself and who you are and what you believe. And that's okay. I have faith in you. I have faith that you'll be able to face the ugliness with love and compassion. You are the only person in your life. There's no prayer, there's no magic spell that can infiltrate how you perceive yourself and how you forgive yourself. Okay? So ego, conglomerate of fear, of evil that's evolved with humanity's choices that you have to consciously choose to keep away, to not accept as natural. I'm triggered in this moment. I hear what I want to say. I hear what the ego wants me to say, but I'm going to choose silence. You just chose to love yourself. Because again, according to the book, love doesn't have anything to prove. Love doesn't need to be right. It just needs to be stated and let go, regardless of how people respond to you. You will not be loved and accepted unless you love and accept yourself. Okay? Versus darkness. Darkness is love that simply forgot that it is love. And it can only transform when you meet it with love. Okay, so that's the difference between ego and darkness, guys. We can't get this confused. You're not doomed. You're not condemned to always fighting an energy all your life. It's simply choices. And guys, without ego and pride, we ensure a happy life. Okay? How beautiful, guys. Without ego and pride, we ensure a happy life. And I think that's it, guys. Oh my God. I think that's it. If you're curious, you're new here, you just hopped in, I read Shanna Star. Her real name is Roshanna Alvarado, the first person to do it, to do this from a loving foundation. This is her work, Love the Real Word of God, Part 1. It's on Amazon. I have it in my showcase on TikTok, and I have it in my bio on Instagram. If you guys would like to grab it and learn some more. I have the whole series, I think except for Part 2, but she has 5 books. But guys, too much too fast is detrimental. I could be here with y'all all night, but I can feel like, okay, like that's enough. So that's why we're starting with Part 1. Start small. Treat yourself like a baby. This is a rebirth. This is a safe place to remember the truth. To be triggered, yeah. To be triggered. But what will you choose? What will you choose? Everything is an opportunity. The truth isn't meant to be pretty. The truth is meant to push through ego. It's meant to break every foundation of the bullshit illusion that ego has tried to convince you that you are. You cannot fully love yourself and still possess ego. Again, that doesn't take away from the work you've done here. This is now just a gentle opportunity for you to look at the reality of the thoughts, beliefs, and perception you have about yourself and to say, man, am I really a good person? Am I really a good person? And if the answer is no, that's okay. I can only speak to you this way because I had the information, the knowledge, the power, the attention, and I was deeply unhappy, creating my own hell, regardless of what I knew, who I knew, and what I did. The only thing that saved me was Shanna telling me in Cape Town, South Africa, actually. She hosts these programs called Rise and Renew, where you get to experience true love, simply a space to be honest and to face mirrors of yourself lovingly. I was weeping to her on the couch because I couldn't differentiate between my identity and the dark shit that I had empowered. I didn't understand that I was anything differently from the ego and from the evil that I was believing. She said, Kamela, tell the ego no. Simple. Tell it no. Literally say out loud, no. And then bring your focus back to the present. That is how you truly choose love for yourself, for others in your reality. Excuse me, guys. That's how you do it. You have to be willing to be the silent one in the room, to be the patient one in the room, to be the observant one in the room. Ego will want your attention, but without your power, it's nothing. I even asked her, I said, Shauna, is getting fuck ego tattooed on my forehead choosing ego? I said, Shauna, is getting fuck ego choosing ego? Hey. Yeah, guys, keep it away from you. It's not who you are. There's so much life for you to experience once you stop empowering the negative things that ego makes you want to believe about the people in your life and about who you are. It's not true. Never has been, never will be. Okay, guys? And I think that's my final thought. I think that's all I have. I love you guys so much. I love you guys. Thank you for being here, and my little sweater and forehead veins. You guys stuck through. And I was a little late today, so I went to the mall with my family and they had a field day in Target. So, hey, that's what they chose. And they're allowed to. So I waited patiently outside and sung to myself. It was kind of nice, but a little cold. But I still showed up. It will always be a choice. Okay? So with that being said, beautiful people, I love you so much. Thank you for being brave enough to be here, to trust me on this Friday night, and to believe in the work. Love the real word of God, guys, where we are dismantling all illusions by facing ourselves in honesty safely. This will always be a safe space for everybody here to weep, to be triggered, but then to remember to choose something different. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you. And until the next class. You guys can find this live in my live tab on TikTok and in my reels on Instagram. Okay? And guys, go follow Roshanna. Go follow Roshanna. She's cool as heck. At Roshanna Alvarado. Okay, guys, have a lovely night and take care. Bye-bye.